Good evening. This is the Walpole Zoning Board of Appeals. Tonight is Wednesday, February 7th. It is 7 p.m. We're missing a few members tonight, so the first case is going to be continued. Case number 22-10, Wall Street Development, LLC, with respect to property located at Darwin Lane. This is the 40B that's being proposed out there. At the request of the applicant and agreed upon by the board, it's been requested to continue this until March 6th with an extension of time until May 22nd. Does somebody want to make a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Moved by Drew.
Second.
Second by Bob. Any further discussion on continuing this?
Just a quick question. Has any materials been submitted since our last hearing on this case?
No, so he did say that the applicant did say that we would have revised plans, hopefully by today. I haven't received them. I did speak to his engineer, and I know that they're on the way, but I haven't gotten anything yet.
Okay, thanks.
So either way, we don't have new materials from the applicant, and there's been a request to continue. Okay, thank you for asking that. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of continuing, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstained, so carried. Okay, next case is case number 23-30 for 1 Fox Hill Drive. We went over this at our last meeting, and I believe Mr. Glassa is here to just walk us through the revised site plan. Yeah, that's great.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is John Glassa, Glassa Engineering, 46 East Street in East Walpole, and I'm here representing Pole Position Auto Body. And as you said, we met 2 weeks ago. We went over the site plan. The board had some requests for some revisions, so I'm just going to go over them. Lauren was nice enough to send me a synopsis of those. So there's a note on the plan, and I believe you probably should make this part of your condition of approval, is catch basins shall be cleaned on an annual basis. We added concrete curbing with 6-inch reveal to be installed at all of the newly created impervious areas. You can just see that, here, 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 and here. There's a note on the plan that says no parking on areas not shown as parking stalls on the plan. We show plantings of at least 18 inches in height planted within the newly created pervious areas. There's a note on the plan, no more than 12 vehicles in the vehicle storage area. Note on the plan, no car washing shall take place on site. Note on the plan, all catch basins shall be updated with hooded sump systems. So we recommend the snout from. It's on the plan, but the manufacturer.
LeBaron snout.
Yeah, the snout's a much better apparatus than a hood, because the snout sort of goes right into the pipe and then covers the whole end of the pipe, where a hood can oftentimes allow the water to get behind it and get into the pipe without actually being sort of filtered out by the hood. So we show a LeBaron snout on the plan, and then we added snow storage areas onto the plan, and I provided an O&M plan for the 1,000-gallon holding tank, right? And again, the purpose of the holding tank is when the cars come into the into the garage. First of all, now it's a quote-unquote public garage, which requires footing, drains in the floor, so floor drains, and they have to drain somewhere. So if we had sewer available, we would go through what's called either an MWRA or what a lot of us call an MDC gas trap. But because we don't have sewer, what we do is we have a holding tank. So what's coming off of this, what's going into this holding tank is water that's dripping off the cars if they come in the rain or in the snow. If there is some drips of either grease or oil coming off of the cars, that would go into the floor drains and into this. And so it's pretty benign. The other ones I've been involved with, it takes years for them to actually fill up because there isn't much dripping off of these cars. A lot of it kind of gets eaten up in the concrete floor anyway and or evaporates. So it's not a huge amount of volume coming into this on a daily basis. I would guess most days none. But it's required. We have to do something. It's required by the plumbing code, so we have to do something. So we've got that on the plan. I gave you an O&M. Should be checked weekly just to make sure there's nothing wrong with it, and then pumped when I think we have it at 3/5 full, or at least the alarm's going to go on, and then pumped out by a licensed hauler who can do that sort of work. So it's not a septic system guy, but it's Clean Harbors type of. And so I put some stuff in there. All that stuff's easily found now online. The DEP has a whole list of who these guys are, who can empty these tanks and maintain these tanks for the property. So that's it. I think I hit everything. If I forgot anything, I apologize. But
I see everything that I was looking for. The snow removal is on here. It's it's there. It's hard to see, but it's there.
Yeah.
Plantings and the 6-inch concrete curb.
Yeah, and there's a detail of the curb also, so we just didn't show it. We also showed a detail of the curb sheet installed.
No, I think has what I want. You good with it?
Do you mind if I speak?
Yeah.
So I know that you understand how important this land is where it's the recess overlay district, and I'm just a little concerned at the applicant's understanding of that to us. And I get the plan looks great because I reviewed it and I looked at it and I went through it. It spelled out all exactly what we wanted. What reassurance you're the engineer of record now, right? We have moving forward that the person who's going to work inside this building and perform this sort of work will uphold that same understanding of the importance of the land that they're working on.
So, Mr. Delaney, the way that is handled, or should be handled, is similar to the Mass DEP Stormwater Management Regulation, where there should be, at certain times, usually once a year, an inspection of the premises, of the tank, done by, usually you want to see somebody like a professional engineer, somebody who's going to give you the not that others wouldn't, but somebody who's going to give you the truth or the, facts of what actually is happening out there. So that would be part of a decision. That would be a requirement of your decision of the approval if you're going to approve it, and then that should be, filed with the town, whether you want that to be filed with the zoning board, with the building inspector, but that would be the way to monitor the whole operation here as far as the the catch basins, the hoods, the tight tank, I think I put it in the O&M, but even if I didn't, the parking lot should be swept at least once a year, so, the catch basins don't fill up with all of that stuff. So that's the way that I see the best way that it's monitored. And that's not something that's out of the ordinary now, because it's something that's done routinely whenever, in fact, for the property across the street here, right, the veterinarian's property. So there's a whole operation and maintenance, protocol. There's a whole list of things that need to be inspected and provided to, in that case, the planning board once a year, done by a professional engineer. So
I appreciate that response, and that answers my question. Thank you.
Judy?
I'm going to take it one step further than Drew, I think. I'm okay with the plan and you put everything on it that you wanted. I'm very uncomfortable with the fact that it's in a Area 3 and there's no special permit that's been applied for to operate beyond what the applicant is telling us. Don't, you can hold that thought, John. We have water resource protection rules for a reason, and I don't feel that I'm going to do my job to protect the areas in Section 12 without some serious guarantee that that application is going to be applied for. I expressed my opinion that it should have come at the same time. And to me, this is a big rush job. And great, your plan's fine, John. I have no issues with it. Like I said, you did everything we asked you to do. However, there's absolutely no guarantee from this applicant that he's ever going to come back for a Section 12 and special permit. Now, I'm not an auto mechanic, but I want to, in reading the section, anything that's stored or used for a job, for a repair in that type of environment is above household quantities, correct?
I would say so. Yeah.
Okay. So we've done other cases. We did a Land Rover or whatever it was up the street where he applied for both. He had to tell us what chemicals were going to be there as per the Board of Health. If that changed, he had to come back and change his change his quantities. Okay, I'm good with that because we know what poisons and toxics and hazard materials are hanging around up there. We have no clue what this applicant is planning. Like I said, I'm not an auto mechanic, but I know that most vehicles have lots of fluids, and when you repair them, there's other fluids, oils, gas. We've already talked about those floating down the snouts and the hoods. That's fine, okay? But I would like to see a condition on this decision that states that this decision is only valid upon, after the special permit approvals that would come in under a Section 12 application.
No, I think that's understood. You're talking about the collision repair? Is that what you're talking about?
I mean, I don't know if...
So Judy, I understand exactly what you're saying. I had the same concerns, but the way I approach this is I look at what is the applicant asking for right now. And right now, it's under the table of uses. And to be honest, I don't know how they're going to be able to do what they want up there without coming in for a special permit, an additional special permit. But that's what they've asked for, and we can either grant it or not grant it. But based on the table of uses, that's where we're at. And they're not going to be allowed to have chemicals up there greater than household quantities. And if they want that, they're going to have to come back.
And I understand we had that discussion, that it's a risk for him, because we could say no on the Section 12 special permit, or condition it however we need to condition it. But I don't understand how he can even pick up a Sawzall or, you know, rip down a wall in that area because we said he can use it. I just don't, I'm not, I really, like I said, we have water ROD protections for a very good reason, and it's extremely disappointing that this applicant chose to take this path, because I understand the use. I can vote for the use, but I really am uncomfortable with the next steps, because I just think it's cutting corners. This is how it started, and this is where we're at. We're cutting another corner, and I don't like to cut corners. No cutting corners here. So I again, we'd like to see this decision only valid after the special permit approvals come in on the application under Section 12.
Okay. But we cannot condition this approval on something that they haven't applied for. We have to deal with what's before us, and what's before us is a use. And I think we've put conditions on here that are appropriate for the use.
Well, I guess we forgot
You're
one
looking-
use, then. Maybe
What's
we
that?
should condition it that there will be absolutely no auto body repair, auto body, so that he can't have that take place until he comes back.
But the applicant that is what the request is for auto body repair at the site. And if the applicant is going to have chemicals in greater than household quantities, they're going to have to come back for a special permit. I think we have to deal with what's before us.
Just
And
on that.
I know that
Are we-
your building inspector's aware of that, so he's not going to let that happen without the applicant coming back here. So if the applicant decides he's going to store these items in more than household quantities, then he'll be back here. So, and I know that because Jim Crowley told me that. He's fully aware of this. So he's not blind to this. So,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bob, and I'll...
No, just to follow up, I think, you both make great points. I think perhaps the decision, to the extent the board is inclined to grant the use, could be explicit and so that, no relief is granted under Section 12, and the condition is that, no such activities can take place on site until, like we're granting you the use, but we're not granting you, just to be clear, we're not granting you a special permit under Section 12. And to the extent any of those activities, whether it's the storage of materials or the creation of additional, there's a whole host of reasons why you might need a special permit. Just to be crystal clear that we're not granting anything with respect to it.
I think that's something that we would put not as a condition, but as part of our finding in the decision.
Yeah.
It just says, we're making it, in our findings, that we're finding that the applicant has applied for it under the table of use, but nothing about Section 12. Do you think that covers it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the concern is that the board has is that by giving sort of the use approval, that it sort of green lights activities that, I don't know how frequently the building inspector will get out there. It sort of puts the onus back on the town, which isn't really how it should be. So I think whatever the board can do in the decision to just be clear that no other relief, whether we could say it more generally, no other relief is granted under the zoning bylaw or something to that effect, so that it's clear that should the inspector go up there and find that activities are occurring that require a special permit, then that would be both a violation of our decision in this case, but also a violation of the bylaw.
yeah, I only brought it up. I wasn't saying he's going to go out there. Well, for
No,
that,
no, no.
for the purpose of sort of finding, but he's going to be involved because they're going to be doing renovations
Right.
to the building. So he's going to be out there, and he's a smart,
But I think,
he's a smart man, so.
but I also think, to Judy's point, to run this business, it would appear to just non-auto repair people sitting up here that they're going to have quantities greater than household use. So they're probably going to have to come back. But if this is the first step in the process, so be it. But we're making it very clear, and I think we can put it into the decision, not as a condition necessarily, but as a finding, that we're finding that there's additional permits that will be possibly needed, and we're only granting the use permit here.
I believe that that's understood by all parties involved, so, and I truly believe that you will see myself or someone else back in front of you for part two, I guess, of this application.
Judy?
And I understand what Bob is saying, and I get it, but I want to be sure it's as strong as possible, that auto repair, it sounds like, step one, baby step, or actually renovation sounds like step one, baby step, and then auto repair is going to slide in, and I don't know if there's a way to tie it into that it's got to be done prior to a certificate of occupancy permit, before he even starts to take off a tire. I don't know, but I just want to make sure that, I don't know if shooting from the hip and setting it in the into the decision itself. I want to make sure it's as strong as possible, and I don't know if we have that language tonight. If you could go through it again, or see where it needs to be. I mean, I get what you're saying, and if it's in the decision that he can't proceed with 55-gallon drums of paint remover, which probably isn't what they use, but I want to make sure that it's not there already when he cuts the blue ribbon that he says, "I'm open." That's my concern. That is my concern.
I think we can have some strong language in the permit. I don't think we can condition their exercise of the use that they've applied for on coming back for a separate approval that they currently say they don't need, but if they do, they'll be back. I just don't, that kind of then, we're then making a determination as to whether or not they need something under Section 12, which isn't part of the application and wasn't part of the public notice, all that stuff, so.
And we're not granting that.
Right.
We're not granting it, they haven't asked for it, and I don't know what their business model is, but if they're going to need to have chemical storage there, they're gonna have to come back.
So how are we going to get that into the decision, Bob?
I think we could either have just a generic language that says, no other relief under the zoning bylaw, including with respect to Section 12, is granted by this decision, period. I don't think it has to be specific to call out, if they were going to store some benign material in there that doesn't require Section 12, they're going to be allowed to do that. But we just want to be clear that to the extent whatever they're doing triggers Section 12, they're not approved to do that by virtue of this decision.
Can we also reference that the property is located in the WROPT Area 3?
Yeah,
In
oh,
that
yeah,
language?
yes.
Okay.
It's all very reasonable. I mean, the application was for a certain thing, and you don't want to go beyond that, and you want to narrow it to say that's all it's for. It's not for this other part of the zoning.
I like the narrow, well put. I want to narrow it down, so there's only
Well,
certain
that's what
things
the
you can do.
application was for, so that's what we're asking you to act on, and to specify that the application does not include this other part of the zoning bylaw is certainly reasonable in my estimate.
Right. It's reasonable, we'll put it in there, but I recognize what's been applied for, and that's what we have before us.
Right.
But we can always, like, as Bob said, we can add that in there just so it's extra clear, and go with that. So, Do you want to read what you have for
So-
and this is not a condition?
So I had it, there was no relief granted specifically under section 12, but how did you want to?
Well, we'll grant the special permit that they applied for, and then have a statement that just says, no other relief under the zoning bylaw is granted by this decision, including with respect to section 12 of the, section 12, and stop there.
Okay.
With the property located in Area
Right.
3.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, good. Okay. Okay.
So we have 9 conditions. We have an updated plot plan. Updated plot plan was revised 1/29/24. And does anybody have anything else to add?
Just had 2 quick questions, just a minor point on the plan, the little circles that are within the areas that will be, converted to vegetated, those are
Those are the
plantings.
plantings, and it's in the notes.
It's in the
that
note, yeah, okay.
Right.
And then my other question has to do with the entry to the floor drain, or the opening to the floor drain. Is anything provided in the design of that to prevent, like, in the event, let's say that a gas tank or the oil pan gets punctured and a significant amount of material comes out? Is there, I don't know how these things are designed, but is there some way that spill could be responded to before it actually gets to the drain? Or is there spill prevention kind of measures that it would be undertaken under that situation?
The only thing is, do you have a spill prevention kit? Yeah. So you could make that a condition also. So they're required to have a spill prevention
Okay.
kit on site, which would be absorbent pads and speedy dry. And so depending on what is spilled and how quickly someone gets to it, there would be an opportunity, and depending on where it's spilled, to actually stop it from running in the pipe.
So-
It would take a little bit of work. You'd probably have to open up the next floor drain and stop it at that location. But on the other hand, it's only going to end up in this 1,000-gallon tank, so it's highly unlikely that it's going to overtop the tank, I would say. I don't think there'd be that much liquid. That's why we want to have the alarm when it's 3/5 full, not when it's, 99% full.
No, I appreciate the spill prevention. I think that's important, and it sounds like it's standard practice in the
Standard
garage.
practice for anybody who deals with,
But we can also add that as a condition, and the condition I would add, I'll just throw this out there if people like it, a spill prevention kit to handle a minimum 100-gallon, minimum 100-gallon spill shall be on site.
Well, 100 gallons.
spill
is a lot.
prevention kit is
Oh,
just
that's
a,
too,
It's not that,
right.
it's not that much.
no.
A 50-gallon tank is only this big for a spill kit.
But
I mean, we
Even
can, you
that,
can only kind
100
of track.
gallons or more, or up to 100?
Up to 100 gallons.
Up to 100.
Up to 100
Okay.
gallons.
Yeah, I think that's, I thought you were saying it had to be 100 gallons before you'd have to
No,
use the kit.
a spill prevention kit to handle up to a 100-gallon spill shall be on site.
But they would have to have that if they have hazardous material anyhow.
They're not supposed to have any hazardous materials.
Well, I'm thinking
Like
more
diesel
of
Fuels,
Right,
fuels in
diesel.
the tanks of the
Oil.
cars.
But that's,
anything.
Yeah,
Hydraulic
we're
fuel.
thinking more of something that's coming off of the car, not something that's going to be stored there. If something that's stored there, that's under
ripping
section
off the
12, and
panels.
then that's going to have secondary containment. So that's kind of a whole different thing from what we're talking about tonight. But,
right.
right, you're just talking about an accident, right? Somebody,
Right, a car's pulling in, something happens, the gas tank falls off, and you got 20 gallons of spills. Yes, it will be caught in the drain, but wouldn't it be better if you contained it before it got there?
think I go back to my original point, which is a yearly inspection by a PE reported to the town would make me certainly feel a lot better that they're in compliance.
I think that if they come back for a special permit under section 12, yes, that would definitely be something that we would look at. I don't know if we're there yet for a use.
I'm there.
But you're
Okay.
doing
True.
automotive repair.
Yeah.
You're storing automotive fluids on site to do those repairs.
Yeah, so that's not what the permit's asking, though. So,
It's not asking to store. I
right.
apologize, I don't mean to
Right,
say
so,
that. but-
you know, and again, I don't want to, give you the impression that the building inspector is going to drive up there every day, but if the building inspector goes up there and there's something stored, more than household quantities, building inspector's going to stop them, so I'm, pretty sure that there's going to be a
It's odd,
filing under
it's odd that
section-
we're talking about an automotive repair business and using household quantities as the metric to measure what that is.
That's what the,
And I'm not disagreeing with the whole point, but just,
unfortunately, that's the way the application was put in front of you, and that's what the applicant's asking you to vote on. As I said, well, I'm pretty sure there'll be a filing under the Water Resource Protection Overlay District to store quantities. And that's where the secondary containment comes in and other requirements for monitoring, inspecting, reporting, right? That's where you'd really want to get into that sort of stuff to make sure that, it's as safe as can be.
Okay. Anything else from the board?
I just have one more question to Drew's point. I guess, is there a reason why we can't ask for the yearly inspection of these?
Because
They're there, they're in the ground, you're offering, we've asked you to put them in, they're already there, and I think it's kind of,
Yeah, I was talking
Awkward.
more of the tight tank to be inspected for the 4 drains in the tight tank. If you want us to someone to take a peek at the snouts while they're out there, that can be done as well, but
I do. Because the future hasn't come before us yet, so we might as well put the protection in now, while we have the opportunity.
So do you want this as a condition?
Drew, was that work for you?
I felt the way that it was explained to me from Mr. Glossa made sense in the original answer that he gave me, and I think it certainly protects us to some extent, but, I mean, I'm open to discussion about it. I am concerned about the upkeep and compliance of the plan on record. And I think that it shouldn't fall upon the shoulders of enforcement or inspection agencies of the town. I think it should be spelled out very clearly on this, our decision, so that way we taking the burden off of the town of Walpole to make sure that the applicant is in adherence with our bylaws and standards.
So I go back to, and and I'm an environmental guy, so I'm very aware of this. But I go back to the zoning issue before us, which is, this is a use request. They are not asking to store chemicals there. If they were here for that, we would have they would have to provide a list of the chemicals, as we've done for other applicants in town. They would have to provide, we could say an annual inspection, which I'd have no problem with. But what we're looking at is a use of the property. And I'm not, I think we should deal with that. And in the future, if there's a request for storage of chemicals, then we deal with that at that time.
Which I agree with, and I think that the misconstrued application, which became a no plan to just an applicant, to an applicant with a mediocre plan, to an applicant with finally coming with an engineer, developed into what is now what's in front of us. But I guess the concern I have is that it took that long for this board to get to the point to, where we're at now. Yeah, I'm fine with closing the hearing and moving on. I have some...
Mr. Chairman, I mean, if it helps, the applicant has no objection to, having the tight tank, the floor drain system, and the two catch basins, the snouts in the catch basins, inspected by a registered professional engineer once a year and providing a report to the town. It's not a lot of money spent to the applicant. It protects the environment and doesn't cost the town any money. It's similar to someone putting in a septic tank. So when we do alternative systems that don't meet the Title V model for a conventional system, there is requirements for additional inspection. So, so now here you have somebody who's coming along, and his change of use, his request for this use is requiring a floor drain that wasn't there before. It's requiring a tight tank that wasn't there before. And it's requiring, because of the sort of the different type, or the type of use that's being proposed, sort of a common sense revision or change to the catch basins that are there, so that we know that if anything does spill, it'll stay in those catch basins. So it just makes sense. It sort of ties together. I can understand you saying, well, whoa, we're going beyond, but it does really tie together, because those are new things, 3 new things that are being shown on the plan. And I think that inspection and reporting is something that's falls into place here, and it's important. So the applicant has no problem with it.
Okay, so could we have a condition, and now I'm on board with you two over here. So the property owner shall have an annual inspection of the tight tank and catch basins by a licensed professional engineer. The inspection report shall be submitted annually to the zoning board of appeals.
And the floor drain system.
Floor drain system.
Okay, the floor drains to the tight tank? Yeah.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
I think we might want to include with recommendations, if any, necessary to, for maintenance and repair of the system, or something to that effect. So that's not just the report, but the report should include, to the extent it's necessary, it may not be, but a recommendation to take some steps to fix things that the report indicates needs fixing.
So added. Do you want to read that back, if you can?
I would love to.
Thank you.
So the property owner shall have an annual inspection of floor drains and tight tank by, was it a registered engineer or licensed engineer?
Licensed professional engineer.
licensed professional engineer with recommendations for maintenance, and then to be given to the zoning board annually.
The inspection report shall be sent to the zoning board of appeals annually.
Okay.
Sorry to ask another question, but the, like, if it gets sent to the board, is that the right place to be sent? Should it be to the building inspector, or, I'm not sure, like,
So I've had this before, and seeing that it is a condition that we are putting on, yes, it is.
It comes to us,
It
okay.
is.
okay.
I've seen it done like that before, because otherwise it could go to the building department and they'd say, what is this? But
Okay.
it is a condition that we're putting on, and it should come to us.
Okay.
And we can turn it over to the building department, but
Right.
where it's a condition that we're putting on, it should be us.
Okay.
Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, so now we have 11 conditions. Does anybody have anything else to add? Okay, so we had already, I believe we had already closed this hearing.
We continue.
I think
I think you
We, I
guys.
unclosed it.
Okay. Okay, 'cause I
Bob
was
and I
looking at the-
unclosed it.
I was looking at the minutes and, okay. So, is there anybody from the public that wants to comment on this? So, at this time, does somebody want to make a motion to close case number 2330 for 1 Fox Hill Drive?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Judy, second by Drew. Any further discussion on closing the hearing? All those in favor of closing the hearing, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, so carried. Now, for voting on the special condition to allow the use of an auto body repair at the site, we have 11 conditions that we have gone over. And does anybody have any questions on those? We also have an updated plot plan, or a site plan from John Galassa, dated January 29th, 24, which would be the plan of record. Does anybody have any comments or concerns about that? Okay. Does somebody want to make a motion to approve the special permit under the table of uses to allow auto body repair at the site with the 11 conditions and the added comment about, in our findings, about that this is only for a use, not anything further?
So move.
Moved by Drew,
Second.
second by Judy. Any further discussion on what's before us? Okay, everybody's comfortable with it?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. All those in favor of approving the special permit with the conditions and references, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? So carried. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, the next thing we have is minutes from our last meeting, which was on January 22nd. Does, I think, no, I looked them over, and I was okay with them. Bob, you have some edits?
I just had a couple, I think corrections, but on page 2, second to last paragraph, has a comment from Judy that said, stated there should be a condition to limit only 12 cars parked outside, and I think,
Yeah.
Was it-
I think my recollection was that it was
In the
12
storage
in the
area.
storage area, right, not just
Right.
outside.
Okay.
So,
Got it.
So, yeah, it should say, like, the vehicle storage area as shown on the plan.
Okay.
And then on page 5, the first motion, just because it's in the motion, it says seconded by Mr. Anderson to consider the public hearing to. that should be
Oh, continue. Thank you.
That's all I have.
The, no, that was, sorry.
Anybody else? Okay, does somebody want to make a motion to approve the minutes of January 22nd, 2024?
So moved.
Moved by Judy,
Second.
second by Drew. Any further discussion on the minutes? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, so carried. Okay.
I have a couple of quick things. Is there a way, I've talked to Patrick about this a couple times, is there a way for the board to be notified as a board that applications have been filed? I'm trying to avoid the embarrassment of running into an abutter of an application of a project
Yeah.
that I have no knowledge of, that was filed, you know. You do
Yeah.
run into people and they
Yeah.
ask you what's going on, and I'm like, I have no clue.
I try to do the agendas for like the next couple of meetings. They're not always like, depending on when applications come in, they're not always ready for like tonight's meeting. I don't like typically always have.
No, I
them
mean, I
done.
I mean, when it goes up on that viewpoint thing, everybody in town hall gets a notification. Can we get on that list? Or can you just bounce an email out to the board?
We, so what we did start doing is we sort of revised our current applications page on the website. So now if you go on any filing that we've been given, I essentially made a website for it, and you go right on, you click it, and it has everything that you would need, all the materials.
Everything in the folder.
Yep.
Right.
So it's all on, if you go under ZBA, and you'll see all the buttons on the side, and there's one that says like current applications page. You'll see, you could just click on everything and.
Well, I guess that's fine, but what I'm looking for is like that instant notification that, 3 o'clock this afternoon,
Something came
something
in.
came in, it was filed, clocked in, da-da-da-da. You
Yeah.
might not have uploaded it yet, but you've got it. And I mean, there's only 7 of us to notify. Just give us a
can
case
try to
number. I
figure
don't want the details. I just want what they're
Like, just like
filing
the
and
gist of it or
what
something.
their project is, I guess. I
I
mean,
can talk to them, and there's got to be some way to do it easily, but yeah, I can let you guys know.
just like sometimes you're in the neighborhood, you can drive by
Yeah.
something if you know it's up there.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And so forth. Instead of getting a notification on an agenda that it's coming and you were next door, you don't
Right.
know anything about it. Okay.
Yeah, we can try that, sure.
And the other thing, I know this is probably related to a case that was continued, but is there a way to notify us that something is being continued rather than us finding out when we get here? It doesn't alter my
Yeah.
attendance at all. I don't think it will,
Of course.
because an applicant could change their mind and show up, and there wouldn't be anybody here.
Yeah, that would be fine if you wanted. I mean, if they kind of what you said.
I
if
guess
they-
what I'm trying to say is I found out on the street that the first case was
Continuing.
being continued. And
Got it.
And I know I'm not on it,
Yeah,
but it was a little news to me that it was going to continue.
yeah. I think, and I can always send those over, but it is, we can't control if the applicant did want to come in and talk. I mean, that's
Oh,
like
no,
the
I
only
understand
like.
that, but if there was a memo or there's something,
Yeah.
I didn't get one, but
Yeah.
it doesn't, okay.
But what I always do is I check in the day of the meeting and make sure that things are what what we're expecting on, and so that's the way I do it. So everybody can do it differently. We can see if there's a way, if you can do a blast email out to everybody, but
Yeah, I think she's saying like prior, like I think the day of the meeting is like too late, basically is what you're saying, so.
Yeah, I mean,
think,
just
like-
for information only, I was
Right.
not shocked at a continuance, but it was news to me.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, sure.
okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
No.
So our next meeting is March 6th. Somebody want to, there's nothing else, does somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Bob, second by Judy. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Good night, everybody.